Hi, we're Alyssa Iverson and Corey Bartow. Today we're going to talk to you about the sport of skiing.
We're first going to start off with the origin and history of skiing. It originated in Northern Europe as well as Asia. The first skis were made from large animal bones and then wood. The military in Norway used skis to actually spy on enemy troops. And then skiing kind of developed a little bit more, and the first major point in skiing was in 1868 when the first national skiing competition was held in Irislöken, Christina. Then, when we entered the 1900s, skiing started gaining a popularity in competitions. People loved to race. So then, with that entailed, then it moved on to 1921 when the first slalom race was conducted. Then in 1924, skiing entered the Winter Olympic Games. This was a huge stage for skiing because it went on the international level at supporting your country. In the 21st century, professional and leisure skiing is still constantly growing today, and it's also changing.
For the current economic position of skiing, in 2010, leading up to the Winter Olympics, the professional ski funding increased as well as the popularity of the sport because of the Olympics. Currently though, however, we're in the off-season of the Olympics. Governments are actually pulling their funding, so skiers aren't getting as much support as they used to. The skier visits have risen in the North America and in the Alps. As you can see here with our chart, the number of ski visitors and the number of percentages in the different regions. In North America, the number of skier visits rose from 57.1 million in 2009 to 59.6 million in 2010. In the Alps, the number of skier visits overall declined slightly from 173.2 million in 2009 to 163.6 million in 2010. However, it's still a growing, it's still more popular as a leisure and professional sport. Tourism has a lot to do with that. There's over 2,000 ski resorts worldwide, so that makes a lot of money. As in the financial aspect, skiing as a business does not generate a lot of revenue for a country per se, but if you're directly involved with the sport, it can be very profitable. Professionals make all their money from such things as sponsorships, advertisements, as well as winnings is where they win the most money, obviously make the most money. Competitive events also are profitable. They make money from sponsors, advertisements, and then the broadcasting rights, and also from the spectators and everything that goes along with the tourism aspect of it. For the governance structure of skiing, there is one main ski federation that runs everything. They're called the International Ski Federation. Under them, they have a bunch of other committees and organizations that run skiing nationally and locally, and that's the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Association, and then also the Olympic Committee. They are in charge of running all the events and competitions. Events and competitions are usually managed by ski associations like the ones above, also by sponsors, and then by the venue. Skiers themselves are managed by an agent or a team manager or a sponsor, usually two. International government funding, skiers worldwide do receive government funding. However, the U.S. is one of the only nations that doesn't have government support, so they have to get their support from other venues and places.
Last but not least, we will talk about the current issues. In the United States, the generation that was born from 1946 to 1964 was called the baby boomers. Now, with this generation getting older, they're finding that there's a decline in skiing, the amount of skiers. So what needs to happen is younger generations, such as ourselves and future generations, they need to get back into skiing on a leisurely and professional level. This will just help skiing overall. Another issue, though, is the adaptations to future weather conditions. Global warming. What's going to happen? if it keeps getting hot, are you going to have to open indoor ski shops or indoor ski venues, or you're just going to have to blow more snow? So it really comes down to two things. It will break down to a technological aspect as well as a business aspect. Now the technological aspect, that's more about the snowmaking systems themselves, as well as the slope development. Now if certain courses are dictated by their actual slope development, so it's really, really important that the skiers are actually happy with the mountain itself. Then there's also an issue on safety. There's a growing number of concussions in this sport because of the speed and obviously how hard snow can be once it gets packed down. Also there's trees on mountains. People do run into trees. So there's an issue now saying, do they make people wear helmets? Should they make people wear helmets, or should they not make that mandatory? So that's a current issue that we have in skiing right now.
That's all we have for you today on skiing. Thanks for listening.